on scene for a stolen car report. While on scene, they encountered several hundred individuals. They began running towards officers saying that individuals were shooting from the crowd. It is important to note that our officers did not hear shots fired while they were on scene. Obviously, something had occurred prior to their arrival. At some point during the night, there were multiple individuals that were transported to area hospitals. They have all since been centrally located at Upstate Hospital. We have a total of 9 victims at this time, one of which is in critical condition. The other 8 are listed as stable and non-life-threatening. We're in the obvious early stages of our investigation as we canvass the area, attempting to collect witnesses, footage that you may have. We certainly need any help from our community. If you have something that will be able to aid us in this investigation, we would ask that you come forward. It is also important to note that the scene is safe. We have everything secure here, and we do not believe that there is any threat to the public. We will take your questions at this time. Or Mayor, if you'd like to say something.
Thanks, Chief. Just want to thank Chief, his officers in the Syracuse Police Department. As you can see, we've gotten a lot of help from other law enforcement agencies. Troopers are here, sheriffs are here, and we have some towns and villages here. So great team effort from SPD and local law enforcement. Scene is secure. Thoughts are certainly with the victims and their families right now. Another difficult night in the city of Syracuse. Questions?
What are the ages of the victims? Do you have an approximate?
We don't have all of that information. We have officers there also at the hospital to ensure that that scene remains safe, but all of that information will be coming later.
Any reason for that large gathering?
I'm sorry?
Any reason for that large gathering?
There is some kind of celebration that we understand. I don't know quite the details of that. I'm told that some gentleman that promotes an event is why we were here today for this event that was going on, but that's part of our initial investigation to determine who and what was here at the scene.
You mentioned some sort of gathering. Was it outside? Was it inside? Where were shots fired?
It is my understanding that it occurred in the parking lot, 1 block behind me here.
What was the scene?
Repeat information about the victims again. How many people were in?
There were a total of 9 victims, all at Upstate Hospital, one of which is in critical condition. The other 8 are in stable condition with non-life-threatening injuries.
And they all came from the same location?
That is my understanding, that they all came from this immediate area here. There were several self-transports, but all of those will be a part of our initial investigation to determine how they got there and what occurred as a result of their gunshot.
9 people shot. Do you know how many shooters?
I do not.
More than one?
I do not know, sir. We're in the early hours of our investigation.
Any weapons found on the scene?
I do not know that answer at this time.
You know, that's a lot of people. You said there was a gathering of maybe 100 people. When you're coming in, you're not sure what you're facing as you respond. You just know there's a lot of people and there were reports of shots fired. So what were some of the challenges that your officers were going through as they responded to this scene and arrived and had to react?
It is my understanding there were a few hundred people here that were on scene. So obviously the first thing that you want to do is to locate and isolate that threat. We were not able to take anyone into custody, so at that point we began our immediate attempts to try to get individuals the medical treatment that they needed.
Do you have any suspects at this time that the public can help you with?
We do not have suspect information at this time. Again, we've started our initial investigation, which will include canvassing the area, attempting to get help from our citizens that were either here or may have information in reference to that. We ask that you give us a call to help with this investigation.
When you have that many people who may have witnessed it, does that aid in the investigation? That many people may have information to help you?
Well, it both complicates it and it could potentially aid you in that, especially if those individuals are helpful in the investigation.
Was the shooting on Bellevue and Hudson related to this at all that you knew of?
I do not know. We have multiple scenes within this large area that we have boxed off. I believe we have 2 or 3 different scenes, so I don't know which location contributed to what victims.
Mayor, when you spoke to the city last week after the officer-involved shooting, you said something to the effect that it can't get much worse. Here we are now, a very sizable shooting in the city. Fireworks going off, complaints, people not social distancing, just issue on top of issue for your police department. Where do you go from here? How do you fix and settle this city right now?
I think we need to stay focused on what's happening right now. We have 9 people that have been shot. one of whom is in critical condition. We need to be thinking about and praying for those victims and their families. And I also, as I look around the scene, I certainly appreciate our police officers and all of our law enforcement agencies coming together. This is a tragic incident. Sounds like it could have been much worse given the size of the crowd. But you know, we're gonna get through tonight, and we're gonna keep fighting tomorrow.
Chief, was the scene at Fayette and Bank Alley related at all? Did the officer involved?
I believe the scene at Fayette and Bank Alley was the result of one of the self-transport having an accident with one of our police cars. But that is based upon preliminary information.
Do you have an approximate number of gunshots?
We do not.
The gathering, do we know if you're still trying to figure out what it was it something that was supposed to have city approval? Did it?
To my knowledge, there was no city approvals issued for a gathering like this. We wouldn't issue approvals for a gathering of this size. So we're going to have to look into how it came to be.
Chief, just to confirm the timeline of things, so shots were fired, you believe, prior to SPD arriving to the scene or any other law enforcement agency? That
would only be my assumption based upon our initial information. Obviously, that's subject to change. But when the officers arrived at approximately 8:54, the individuals that they encountered were saying that the people were shooting, but we did not hear shots fired while we were on scene.
9 people. Were those subsequent shots? Was it random firing? Any idea if it was random, unknown, or a more targeted, intent?
In the early stages of our investigation, all those questions we hope to answer during the investigation.
All happened before your guys arrived.
That is my understanding.
Okay. Any relation between the victims of the shooting?
I don't know the relationship between victims, just other than that we have 9, nor their age or race demographic information.
One of the challenges that we've always had, and you touched on it, is getting people to help you. You have many, many potential witnesses, but sometimes it's a challenge getting them to cooperate with police. Can you talk about, what you would say maybe to people out there who know what happened?
Well, I would just ask if they have information that will be able to help us in this investigation, that they certainly come forward. I understand the challenges of that. There are multiple ways to be able to do so anonymously. And then more important that we behavior-wise do the kinds of things where if you're going to gather, let's at least be on our best behavior. There's a lot going on in the world today that we've seen over the past couple of months. The violence that plagues urban cities across America has been constant throughout that, and this is just another day or another thing that we're going to have to deal with. Our city is a very resilient city. We've taken a lot of licks over our history, and this will certainly be one that we will remember, but we're trying to figure out who's responsible for this so that we can hold those individuals accountable.
You said the shooting was in the parking lot. Was the actual event in the parking lot or in a nearby building? Where was the event happening?
We have multiple locations of where the shooting possibly happened. I believe the event centrally located in the parking lot was my statement.
I know this is a stretch, but 4 years ago there was an event similar to this on Father's Day. And was there any chatter or indication that there might be a problem?
I have no information that leads me to believe that this is connected with that historic shooting.
Mayor, it's a tense time in this city, as it is around the country, but it hits this city too. So to have this on top of it, this is a sizable incident on top of a very sizable string of incidents. What do you say to calm the city and make the people of the city feel comfortable?
I think the chief said it. We're a resilient city, and as you said, this is not unique to the city of Syracuse. Whether we're talking about fireworks or violent crime, gun crime, these are issues that are plaguing cities all around the country. But this is our city, and we're going to do everything we can to protect it. And again, we're going to. I have no doubt the chief and his team are going to investigate thoroughly, and as they usually do, hopefully identify those responsible and hold them accountable. And we'll wake up tomorrow morning and we'll get back to work. I love this city. I believe in the people in this city, and the vast majority of people in the city are doing all the right things, and for those that aren't, they're going to be held accountable.
A couple things.
Last couple of questions.
Was there an officer involved in an accident on the way to this scene?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know if he was en route to this scene or not, but it is my understanding that one of the self-transports from this location was involved in an accident with one of our marked police cars.
Gotcha. And
Do you know if the shooters were involved in the party or some sort of drive-by, not connected to the party?
Those are all questions that we hope to answer during our investigation.
how many other surrounding law enforcement came to the scene today?
We had state, county, and members of our towns and villages, and again, I'd like to echo the mayor's sentiment that we certainly thank them for responding very quickly and assisting us with this investigation.
At what point is that decided that you need help from many other agencies, not just the county and state, but I saw some town agencies here also?
Well, it's almost immediate, but when you have that number of victims that we were well aware of very early, it's kind of anyone that's able to help will respond. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So one more. I thought it